Oh my gosh, I've been brought a toy. An offering, if you will. Off he trots. You guys, this month is so exciting to talk about because, as you may know if you saw my last one, I am coming off a 1-book reading slump. You heard me right. April, I read 1 book. This month, I read how many? 13 books. I ain't trying to brag or nothing, but that's kind of fantastic for me. Not trying to compare with anyone else. Like, for me and my reading abilities, kind of killed it. So I'm going to talk to you guys about all 13 books. I'm going to try to do it in order of how I read them. Usually I do like a wrap up for 2 months, but literally reading so many books, I'm like, I can't hold all this information up here to wait till next month. So this one is going to be just the month of May, and I hope you enjoy, and I hope Darcy can tolerate it as well. This month started off with some hard hitters, which I think helped me read even more because we started off with 2 5-stars. We kicked it off with them. First, Finley Donovan Jumps the Gun. This is the 3rd installment in the Finley Donovan series. And it led me to believe that there will be more, and I really hope there will be. I listened to this one on audiobook. I've done that with all the books in this particular series, and I love doing that. I love the voice narrator, and they are such entertaining stories. This was a 5-star from me, you guys. I don't think the first 2 got 5 stars, but this one I loved. I did see some like opposing views on it, but this one totally took place at the police academy. They're training to be like, they're taking like a detective class basically, like just to learn about working in that field, which was really cool. I liked how it all took place there. I love all the characters getting involved, and like Finley and Vera's relationship is just top tier. It's just best friend material. It's so witty, it's so fun, and it keeps you on the edge of your seat, and it's still super thrilling. Like this one, please get into the series. Like read this one. It'll take you there. It's a dub. Next 5-star was Happy Place by Emily Henry. You guys saw this coming. I saw it coming, but it was so satisfying and amazing to read. I did get the one that had bonus content for Target only. Not that I thought that was like world changing, but I've seen a lot of videos on the different like extra content you can get. So if you're curious about like the Target versus the Barnes & Noble, I've seen a lot of posts. But this was such an amazing read, you guys. This one takes place at a cottage in Maine with a friend group that lived together through college, and now they're kind of after school trying to come into their own and still maintain their friendship and closeness, but also growing up and growing apart. It focuses on Wynn and Harriet and their relationship. They've broken up, their engagement, but their friends don't know, and they go on this trip and they have to pretend that they're still together. Oh, you guys, it was so good. It was like just such real characters, and I felt like I found myself in like the characters and how they were feeling. I thought it was so relatable and beautiful. It's definitely a favorite from her. I love beach reads, so I might have to reread that one to compare, but it was just great. It's such a great story. I love the depth she gives these stories. They're not just beach reads, they're easy reads, but they have depth to them, and I thought our characters were amazing. They were flawed, they were real people. It was such a good read. Like, I already want to reread it, and I just read it like a month ago. I need to chill out. Next on the docket, I read Birthday Girl using Kindle Unlimited. This one, y'all, I know some of you out there stand this book, and you know what? You keep doing what you see fit. Me, it's a 2.5. I literally at the beginning, I was like, okay, this is like intriguing. Like clearly her and her boyfriend are not getting along. Wait, pause. For those who don't know what this book is about, this is about a girl who has a long-term boyfriend. They move in with his dad, and she ends up being interested in his father. I would say that is the main premise. That is basically the whole story. So this is also my first Penelope Douglas read. So throwing that out there too. It was definitely like really easy to read, easy to get through, but the beginning did like entice me, and I was like, okay, like I get it, her boyfriend kind of sucks, like I get why she's interested in him. I kind of like liked how they met, I was into it, but then when like they are officially together, like I kind of got the ick, especially when they kept talking about like she's 19, he's like 48. No, I think he was like 39 or something, or 40, but I was like, I'm not liking what I'm seeing. And I know it's like, it's fantasy and it's not real. So, I mean, I'm not trying to judge people for liking it. Just for me, the age gap was too big. And I felt like that was the only thing the book cared about. It was like, look how big their age gap is. Look at it. He's gonna treat her like a little girl because their age gap is so big. Like, I just didn't like that. But again, like the beginning had some glimmers of interesting stuff. So I would try Penelope Douglas again. It's just like this trope done to this severity ain't gonna work for me. Next, for my week of reading thrillers, I read Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Santo. This one was definitely different than I expected, and I talked about it quite a bit in the video. This one read much more like a romantic comedy, and it read like one of those silly comedies where like nothing can go right. That's kind of my perspective on it. So it was less thrilling and more like funny, goofy, but it definitely had great representation. I really liked the aunties, and I liked their relationship and all the culture that was thrown into this story. I ended up giving it a 3. I would definitely pick up something else by her. I think I just was a bit misled about what I was getting into. And it was definitely like readable, enjoyable. If those things interest you, give it a go. It just ended up not being what I was looking for. Next, I read Daisy Darker by Alice Feeney. This one, I listened to half of it and then I read on my Kindle for the other half. This one ended up getting a 2.25 from me. Basically, it's about a girl who is growing up and she's a very dysfunctional, abusive family. And she's a heart condition. So she has died and come back to life before many a time because of her heart failure. So she has a very interesting perspective in life. The grandma gets all of the family together because she believes that she will die on her 80th birthday or when she's 80 because she got her palm read one time, and they said that. So she gets the family together to like read her will, basically. That's the premise. It definitely went in a direction I wasn't expecting and didn't end up loving personally. I didn't like a single character. I was like, I just don't care what happens to any of them. And to be honest, the end did not justify the means for me. So this one was rated pretty low. It's not the type of thriller I'm interested in. I did like her other thriller, Rock, Paper, Scissors, so I definitely try something else from her. It's just this one was not gonna do it. Next, during that week, I read 5 Survive by Holly Jackson. Another 5-star. She can do no wrong, like she really can't. She killed it again. If you are a true crime girl, if you like Law and Order, I don't even know, but Holly Jackson is for you. I loved A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. This one really was exciting. It's a group of friends traveling cross country in an RV, and their RV gets trapped and stuck, and they have to figure out why and who in the RV is telling a lie to the other ones. So there are 6 of them, 5 survive. It is so entertaining. I read it so quickly. It really keeps you engaged. It was super fun, and I loved the end. Like, truly a wonderful thriller read from my perspective. Sorry about any changes you see in the lighting or the view. A thunderstorm just happened while I was trying to film. It's still kind of going on, so we're just gonna push through. Honestly, maybe it'll add some... maybe we can't push through. Next, we have Flawless by Elsie Silver. And my thoughts on this one are going to trigger the girlies. The girlies are not going to be happy with my thoughts. This one is about a professional bull rider who ends up saying he hates milk. And that's one of their biggest like one of his biggest sponsorships, and they end up dropping him, and his PR management agency decides he needs a babysitter. So this girl, what is her name? I'm terrible with names. Summer ends up being assigned to Rhett as his babysitter slash his PR person to make sure he's making good choices. So this one, I know so many people loved. Like, I'm well aware. For me, it was a 2.75. One, when you have a romance and you're making it 430 pages, you've already lost me a little bit. It's a little bit too much. Besides that, I just felt like we were constantly just told how they feel and like what's going on and why they are the way they are, instead of like the book showing me more. Like, I just felt like it felt really surface level and kind of had some fake depth to it. I mean, if you feel like I do, if you're in the same boat, please leave a comment below, because I am in the minority with my thoughts on this one. I also know people like love the second and third one, so I'm not against trying out another book. I liked Elsie Silver's writing style for sure, and there was some interesting banter and good steamy scenes, but I just thought overall like it was lacking something for me. Like, these characters felt very forgettable in the end. So those were my thoughts. I know that's a little bit harsh. I feel a little bad because I know so many people love it, but I'm not saying it's terrible. So if you have interest in the premise, like, pick it up by all means. On to some happier thoughts though. I have Normal People by Sally Rooney. It's a 5-star. It's a reread for me. I'm not a huge rereader, but this one was even better the second time. You guys, this novel is everything to me. If you know me like in person, I do not stop talking about this book. It transcends everything in my life and in my mind. Basically, it's about Marianne and Connell, and it's a coming of age story told through their relationships with each other and with others. Basically, they are polar opposites in a lot of ways, but have a lot in common. Connell is super popular in high school, and Marianne is the exact opposite. But then they go to college and they kind of switch those two roles. It's quite interesting. This book discusses grief and coming of age, class, and the impact we make on each other's lives ultimately. I love this. If you guys, just give it a try. Like, literally just give this one a try for me. Even people who don't like it, I'm like, but there is so much here. Like, the reasons you don't like it are part of what make it wonderful. Like, the unlikable characteristics of these two, the sadness in this story, like, that's what makes it a great story. I mean, I rest my case. I just need to get off my high horse about this one, but even if you didn't love this story, I would give the Hulu show a go. It is one of the best TV show adaptations of a book I've ever seen. So, like, it is pretty incredible. It fills in those blanks that you might not get from the novel. So definitely give that a try. Last, I had the 4 books I read during my readathon. That should be my next video up. So you're getting kind of a preview of how I felt about the books before I tell you about them. Yeah, we gotta do it because I did read them in May. I'm like, can we keep that a secret? I don't think we can. First book I read in the readathon was The Switch by Beth O'Leary. This one was so much better than I expected. It reads like a very British novel. It has a very British tone, great rom-com vibes. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. I loved the tone. I loved the kind of dry British humor. This one was very slice of life. It's about a granddaughter and a grandma who are both struggling in their current situations, and they decide to switch places and switch lives for a period of time. It is just super slice of life, enjoyable, likable characters. You kind of feel like you're entering into their little family and their little world. It does deal with grief, so keep that in mind if that's something you're dealing with or struggling with, but I loved it. I can't wait to pick up the flat share next from her, so totally worth the read. Next, I have 2 graphic novels. I have Witches of Brooklyn, which is the first one, and then Witches of Brooklyn, What the Hex. These are super cute. They were a great palette cleanser during the readathon. I've decided not to rate these. These are middle grade graphic novels, so they definitely read a little young for me, and I think those ratings should be left for people of that age to decide if they like it or not. I'll definitely consider reading more of them. It's just like, for me, it doesn't add a lot of depth to my life or feel like I'm learning anything or growing, but they are entertaining and quite cute little graphic novels. Next, I listened to Never Vacation with Your Ex. This is by the author duo. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna put it here because I listened to this one on audiobook, so I don't remember their full names. This one ended up being one of their YA novels, which I've never picked up, and I don't know if I will again. This ended up being a 2-star for me. Quite lackluster. I did not like the characters. I did not like the parents. I didn't like the tone. I felt like I gained nothing from it. I'm not trying to be too negative because I did love their novel, The Roughest Draft, and that one was an adult novel, so maybe like this book just wasn't written for me and wasn't something I could really relate to. I had just hoped that it would have some a tone that was similar to the other novel. So this one ended up falling flat, but in the future I would totally pick up one of their adult novels. And the last book I have to show you guys today is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This one was going crazy on BookTube, I'm pretty sure Bookstagram. Like, I've just seen a lot of people talk about this one. This one ended up being a 3.25 for me. I did really enjoy it. It was super readable. It was quick paced. It made me very curious to see how it would end. However, I did call probably the major twist pretty early on, which didn't make it unenjoyable, but it definitely, like, I felt like I knew where the novel was moving pretty quickly. I thought it was a good thriller. I just didn't think it was a life-changing, twisty thriller. I thought it was enthralling and entertaining. So definitely pick this one up if you're looking for something that's kind of a quick read that gets you back in the reading spirit, gets you out of a slump. This one would be a great one to pick up. There you have it. All 13 novels that I read this month. I'm so happy that I made it through so much of my physical TBR, you guys. I have been slacking beyond belief. This has jump-started me back into the reading game. I have caught up on my Goodreads goal. I'm feeling alive. I'm excited to keep reading. I thoroughly enjoyed filming this one for you guys. It's so much fun to revisit old books and relive those feelings that they gave you when you read them. If you also enjoyed watching, please like, comment, subscribe, stick around, give some suggestions for future videos. I'm always interested in what you guys want to see. So cheers, have a beautiful, beautiful week.